said that you were planning to run for the Ohio Supreme Court either in 2008, which you didn't, or in 2010, which you are now. In response to that, you said, quote, "I have no plan, no design whatsoever to run for the Supreme Court in 2010. I intend to serve as a probate judge in this community is work that I will enjoy doing. The Supreme Court race is simply not in the cards." How do you explain that now?
I stand by the statement that I made at that time. I had no intent, no design whatsoever, and I've enjoyed my work at the probate court very much. But when the governor asked, it was important for me to consider and to have the opportunity to serve all of the people of Ohio and to take my years of public service and my experience and put that to work for all the courts and all the people. It's an opportunity that too good to pass on.
Judge Brown, if you were to lose to Justice O'Connor, would you seek an appointment to the Supreme Court to replace her as a justice?
I intend to win this race.
I understand that, but if that didn't happen, would you want to be appointed?
I'm not planning that far out. It's my intent to focus on winning this race.
During that same race in 2008 against Judge Felsen, I believe was his name, the local bar association rated him as highly recommended and rated you as acceptable. If you were only acceptable as a probate judge, what kind of legal qualifications do you bring to the top job in the entire judicial system of Ohio?
The opportunity to run statewide is one that I want to present to the people of Ohio. When I ran for probate judge, I was running against an 18-year incumbent who was operating in the Fisher Court, and I was not known to the probate bar. I took my case to the people, and the people who I trust supported me overwhelmingly, winning that race by 13.5 points.
Judge Brown, how much do you expect to raise and spend on this race?
Mr. Redfern?
Judges are barred from fundraising at every level in the state.
Well, how much then does the party expect to pay, Chris?
I am, however, not barred. Or as you may know, state parties, for instance, can raise certain amounts of money into the judicial fund and use those dollars specifically for judicial candidates for the municipal court and the highest court. The Ohio Democratic Party, our intent, of course, in the next several months is, as Judge Brown mentioned, take our case to the people of this great state. We will articulate messages that reflect what we believe, what the party believes are important in selecting voters and selecting members of the court, the highest court, restoring balance, and reflect the importance of judicial temperament and experience. And we believe, as leaders of the Ohio Democratic Party, that Judge Brown brings to this campaign those very virtues. And we will be well-funded. We will have the resources to take our message across this great state. And I'm optimistic about this race and about the race of Judge Trapp. This is going to be an exciting time for those who care deeply for the state's constitution and restoring balance to the court.
Despite banner years in 2006 and 2008 for Democrats, you still had trouble cracking the all-Republican Supreme Court. How do you think this is going to be this year?
Well, thanks. Well, I think candidates are as important as trends. And in the case of Judge Brown and Judge Trapp, they understand the importance of traveling our state, attending events, gathering together like today, friends and families and supporters to take their message out from the grassroots on. I recognize that because candidates for the state's highest court are not labeled Democrat or Republican on the ballot, that sometimes there's voter confusion. That's why it's important now that we articulate on behalf of those candidates in a mindful, ethical, and legal way.
Would it have been different if there was more balance?
Perhaps I could, but I won't, because
because I'm not here to pick a fight with the current court, but I will emphasize what I have said multiple times, that every governing body should reflect the people. And I think this court, because it is comprised of members of only one party, does not reflect the state of Ohio. And I believe that Judge Brown and Judge Trapp will bring a needed degree of balance to the court. And that's why I've asked Judge Brown to take on this responsibility, and why I am so strongly supportive of this effort.
In the last election cycle, Justice O'Connor got more votes than any other candidate statewide, including current President of the United States. This might be more of a prospective question. How formidable of an opponent is she, and how do you attribute her 67% or whatever it was in the last cycle? What do you attribute that to?
Well, I think I would attribute it to the strength of our party and the strength of our candidates. And quite frankly, in years past, while we presented the candidates that were committed to this effort, the state is large, the task is great, and having a state party and a group of statewide elected officials and leaders who are willing and ready and able to gather the resources on behalf of candidates who are not permitted to gather those resources themselves is quite important. With all due respect to Justice O'Connor in years past, this is not 2008. This is not 2002. This is not a lieutenant governor race or a race for prosecutor. This is the Chief Justice race for 2010. And with all due respect to the justices, with all due respect to the court, Judge Brown will bring to the people of the state of Ohio his breadth of knowledge, his experience, his life experience, his commitment to the Constitution, and will, at this point, let the voters decide. And we will make sure that we have the resources to articulate the reasons why and the reasons for Judge Brown going forward.